Hello homemakers, and welcome back guys. So today I have a special treat for you. I have my beautiful mother. Her name is Alice, and yes, this is my mom, and today we're going to talk about the different generations of homemaking. So my mom was a homemaker in the 1970s and in the 80s, so I thought it would be really cool to talk with her about how it was homemaking back in her time, or maybe even ask her about how her mother did homemaking, because your mom worked, right? Yes. So, and it was how many of you at home your mother had?
Five.
She had 5 children at home. So she worked and she had 5, your mother, right, had 5 children at home. So she was a fascinating woman in herself. So anyway, but we're going to talk about with my mom today. I'm really excited because I often on my channel mention my mom and how she did things. And on my last video on setting the atmosphere, I told you all that I would pick her brain on how she ran a household with 5 children and countless relatives. We are at my mother's home today, so you're going to probably hear a lot of background. There's always Coco. Y'all know how Coco is in my videos, so she'll probably pop in and she'll probably bark here and there. But anyway, we wanted to get started. So Mom, welcome.
Thank you, Miss Catrice.
Okay, so the first thing I want to ask my mom is, how old was you when you got married?
20 years old.
20 years old. I also was 20.
Years old.
Wow, and what year was it that you got married?
1970.
And back then, that was a common age to get married, right?
Yes.
A lot of people got married young back in those days, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you was a young bride and you first became a homemaker, was you a stay-at-home homemaker or were you a working homemaker?
I was a working homemaker.
Okay.
From the beginning, I was a working homemaker.
And I should note that our family is kind of funny. My mom and dad, they had like the first set of children when they first were married. They had my 2 older sisters. And then 9 or 10 years later, they had me and my brother. And it was completely different. By then, you were completely, for me, she was a completely stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
For most of my life.
The twins. You were the twins.
Yeah, with me and my twin brother.
Yes.
So when you first, so I think this is really good to hear, guys. So when she first got married, she was a young mom of 20. She had your babies right soon after, right?
Yes. I got married at the age of 20. I had my first child at the age of 20.
Right, and then 2 years later, you had
2 years later, I had my second child.
She had her second child. So she was a new wife and then a new mom back to back, and then she also worked. So my question to my mom was, how did you balance being a homemaker and having young babies and also contributing to the home?
But one thing I always did is, in my mind, and this is today, this is 50-some years later, I always don't think about what I got to do, I just did it.
Okay.
And I realized I had the babies, I realized that I work, not because I had to work or my husband would say, you better go work. No, it wasn't about that. It's something I wanted to do to be a help to my husband. I worked. So I realized I had, at the time, my husband was a full-time evangelist, so we didn't have a vehicle. So what I had to do was I had to get up, get my babies ready for the babysitter. I had to walk to the babysitter, walk to the work, stand on my feet for 6 to 8 hours, walk back to the babysitter, then walk back home. I didn't mind it. When I got home, I knew I had to cook for my babies. I would cook, get them clean up, and ready for bed. And I did that for years. I didn't mind doing it because I felt like that was part of being a motherhood. And I enjoyed every minute of it.
And that's the main thing I would like to say to homemakers, is to enjoy. Enjoy those years, especially when your babies are small, because it really does go fast.
Yeah.
So Mom, you talked about working and you gave us a little bit of how you did your routine. So how important was it for you to wake up earlier than your children and get things prepared? Did you prepare things the night before? Did you believe in laying out everything the night before, preparing meals?
Always. I always lay my kids' clothes out. They had the play clothes. They had the church clothes. Everything was in a stack. So I knew when they was going to the babysitter, they had special clothes for that. The night before, I always laid the clothes out. Like I said, I realized what I had to do. Okay, Alice, this is what you got to do. So I did it. Once again, the word is, don't think about it, just do it. And that's how I was able to accomplish so many things down through the years. I didn't think about it, I just did it. Because as a mother, I knew that was something as a mother, my obligation for me to do, and I did it.
Exactly.
With joy, and didn't mind doing it. I didn't mind getting up 2 or 3 hours early because I knew I had to walk to the babysitter and then walk to work.
Right.
You know, and stay on my feet for 6 to 8 hours. Then walk back. Didn't mind it because I knew I had to do it, and I did it. With joy.
Exactly. And that goes
I
to
really did.
having a routine and putting those routines in place. I talked about that on my last homemaking video about how women of my mom's generation believed in laying things out the night before, laying
Yes,
the
ma'am.
clothes out. And that way that your home and your mornings are not in chaos. And so, Mom, going to that, how important was it for you to keep a clean and tidy home?
That was one of the most important thing to me. One thing I was about order. And I realized that keeping a clean house was a part of the order. I always felt like when my kids was away all day long at the babysitter, and they would come home, and the house would be nice and clean, smelling good, everything in order. I just felt like it made them feel good. And it did.
Yes.
And it did. And so that was important. Keeping your house in order. Was it easy? No, it wasn't easy. But I made it happen because to me, I felt like that was so important to have a nice, clean house and have it in order. I was going to say something else about my husband, but we're talking about the kids right now. But that was important. Kept a clean house, kept the clothes washed. That's why I don't understand this generation today, how they say they don't have time to wash clothes.
Right.
They would rather go buy clothes, throw the dirty clothes in the closet,
Right.
and go buy
New clothes.
new clothes. Keep them. What? Are you serious? When you can just wash them. And back then, in my early days, we really didn't have a washing machine. So for a long time, I did a lot of stuff on my hand.
Wow.
I didn't mind it. I did it because I knew there was something that was important. It had to be done. Once again, Alice, you don't think about it, just do it. And I did it.
And back then, in the 70s, a lot of people, laundromats were a really big thing.
Oh,
Most people
yes.
didn't have an in-house washer and dryer.
So true.
Especially being newly married. A lot of people, they had to lug their children and everything to the laundromat. I actually sometimes
And I did it.
still like going to the
Yeah.
laundromat because you can get so much done so much
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah.
And I remember going to sometimes to the laundromat with my mom, and I enjoyed, and I still enjoy it to this day because I enjoyed going with her.
And you meet people.
And you meet
My
people.
thing is,
yeah.
you know,
My mom likes to talk to people
I
and
really
sit and
do.
look at people, and she likes to observe people. So it was really fun to go to lunch. So, and that's another thing, making those little mundane tasks of even going to laundromat special and fun and a memory for your children. Just enjoying, back to what she originally said, where you are in life. So she enjoyed being a young mother, and all that every day, like she said, wasn't easy, but she enjoyed it, and she put that in her mindset and made it fun for her and her young children at the time.
Yes.
So, Mommy, how much did Daddy help? Did you all share roles back then? Or was it the woman has to stay in the house and do this and the man has to do that? Or what was the roles back in the 1970s?
My husband was a full-time evangelist. So he was on the road a lot. But when he was home, he was the greatest help. Every doctor's appointment, if we had to go to laundromat, he was right there with me. Help with the house, everything. He was there 100%, and I thank God for him. Sometimes when I look back, and I just thank God for him in so many ways. He was there to help 100%. And when he wasn't there, I realized this man is out winning souls for Christ.
Yes.
And in order to keep a roof over our head and food on the table, that was his job. So I always felt like my job was, keep the house in order, keep the kids in order. But when he was home, he was the greatest help. Every doctor's appointment, he did not miss not one doctor's appointment.
Wow.
Even if he had engagement to preach, he would make sure that engagement did not interfere with him going with me, taking our babies to the doctor's appointment.
And I think that's so important. Every couple is different, but I think it's really important that no one in the relationship has the burden of anything totally, because as you can see, she decided to contribute to the home financially, but she also did her duties as the wife and the mother. And then my dad, who was the provider for the most part, but he also contributed when he was there, he helped out. I think nowadays a lot of men think it's either or. I work and I provide and you take care of the kids. But no, when he was home, I know, especially by the time me and my brother came along, my dad was very active in helping take care of us. Like my mom did all the day-to-day cooking, but my dad has always done all the holiday cooking.
Holidays, the shopping.
And he did all the shopping.
All the cooking, all the decorating. He did all
the decorating.
And guess what? He does it today.
He still does
51 years later, he's still doing it.
Which is where I get the decorating and the holiday stuff from my dad.
Also, Catrice, let me put this in. I was a homemaker. When I was working, a lot of times when my husband would come in from revival, late at night, he would be up counting the monies that he made on revival. And I could see him scratching his head. I took upon myself, and the reason why I took upon myself, I would go to him and I would say, give me a bill. And what I would do, I would take that bill, I would pay it until it is completely paid off. And then when I paid that off, back in the day, they had those most wonderful layaways. and God, I want to thank you. And then when I paid that off, I said, okay, I paid. He said, you finished? I said, yeah. It would take me a couple months to do it, but I got it done. I said, yeah, give me another. That is another way I was helping him.
Help me.
I am his help me. So that was another way that I also enjoy helping my husband by sharing. Didn't mind it. Didn't make no whole lot of money, but what I had, I would pay a little bit on that bill, and I got to pay. It don't take much. A little bit at a time become much.
A little bit at a time.
And I did it.
So for today's housewives, some of them start their YouTube channels and make a little money from that. Some people, I know back in your time, they would take in a little washing, a little cleaning, help, or a little earning to help their households. I used to work seasonally to help with Christmas and special things like that when my children were little. So there are ways you can contribute financially, but you also can budget and what your husband makes and live according to that budget, and not put a lot of expectations on your husband as far as, oh, I want the latest this and I want the latest that. Not to put those extra pressures on your husband, but work with what you have, maintain. Like they had a small apartment when they first got married.
Oh, yes.
But I hear tell, because I was young, that it was like the cleanest apartment
in the project, baby. Don't get me wrong. We started out in the project.
Right. And the projects aren't what they are now, back when they started out.
They're really not. And
right.
I'm not ashamed to say that. Even the Bible says, "Despise not small beginnings."
Yes.
And we was in the project for years. Didn't matter. I knew there was a place where my husband put it. Wherever he put me, kept it clean. I kept the house in order and kept his kids in order. So when he would come in off the road, he would come to a house of peace. And to me, that meant the world to me.
And that is such a good tip. Again, it goes back to my video on setting the atmosphere. I personally, don't remember, and I'm sure it happened, my parents bickering or arguing in front of us when we were small children. I don't have any memories of that. I'm sure they did it because they're human behind closed doors. But when my dad came home, my mom always had things in order. And so...
And we had disagreement, don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But we always had them behind closed door. Once we go in our bedroom and shut that door, you know, if you're going to have a disagreement about something, I think it's good. It's just for you two. It's not for the kids.
Right,
You know?
right.
You always be us, and that's how we did it. That's why you didn't know anything about it.
Right.
But we had
But I'm
we
sure
had
they had, right.
We had disagreements.
But again, it
we're
went to,
human. I mean, come
we're
on.
human, right.
Yeah.
But that goes to setting the atmosphere, having an atmosphere of peace in your home for your children, everyone. And that goes to like making sure your home is clean and organized, because everyone sleeps better, I feel, when your space is organized and everything's in peace. Everyone, it just starts your day out better. So I had a list of questions here. We're all over the place. But I wanted to go back to, what was some of the best advice when you first got married that someone gave you, like your mother or older sibling? Because you had a sister who was already married with children by the time you got married.
Well, Catrice, to be truthfully, in the beginning it was 14 of us.
Wow.
And when my mama passed at the age of 42, she died very young age. I was between the age of 3 and 4 when mama passed. And my daddy remarried. Thank God he married to this most wonderful, saved woman. She was a pastor, Avon salesman. She did her, she did it all. So she took in the 5 youngest one. She took us in and did an excellent job with us. So by me saying that, she was the one. She didn't have time to literally sit down and would say to me, Alice, this is how you do this. You do it this way. But you know what I did? I observed.
Okay.
I would look how she did. I would look at the things she would say and how she would say. I even look at how she treated people. And that's how I learned. But just looking, a lot of times, I feel like you can learn more when you keep your mouth shut. Just sit back and observe and just look and take notes in your mind. That's how it happened for me. And with the help of God.
The help of God. Well, I watched my mom. So what would be the best advice that you would give, like to a young person who would get married today, like you gave me? I know one of the things my mom told me about when I first got married was to one of the funny things she said is, what you start, you're going to have to finish with your husband. So if you start out making the bed every single day and bring him breakfast in bed, he's going to expect that every single day. And I started out telling my husband, you never have to make the bed. And guess what? He don't make the bed to this day. I still make the bed every day. But there's certain things that you do for daddy that you start out doing and you still do them to this day.
I know. People, yes, I do, Katrina. Now, people, I guess you would call me, even my kids said that I take everything to the extreme.
She does.
And I do. For the good.
Good, in a good way.
But in the beginning, my husband always loved, he had to have clean sheets every day. And I did that.
She did.
For 40-some years, I did it. I don't do it now. He gets them every other day.
Right.
But he also have to have a clean washcloth and a towel, fresh one every day. I still do that today. Some things I still do.
Wow, and you've been married how many years?
51 years.
So be mindful, ladies. What you start, you will have to continue to do for 50-some years.
And the fun thing with that, Katrina, he does not say to me, Alice, you better have me some
Right,
attention.
he doesn't
No,
demand
he
it.
don't say nothing. I just automatic. I do it because I know this is what he likes. And I just do it by thinking.
Right.
I just do it. If I was to give advice to this generation on today, this generation needs a whole lot of advice. But the thing I would say the most is, when you go out to do something, look, don't think about it. Just do it. Because when you think about it, the problem that you think about, I got to do this, it get longer. In your mind, it seems like it's a whole lot. And then, next thing you say, I can't do that. And guess what? You don't do it. So that's why when something comes in your mind, don't think about it, just do it. Do not procrastinate. I hate when people procrastinate. Just drag their feet into, no. If you're going to do it, just do it.
Just do it.
And that's what I do today. I don't think about it. I don't procrastinate. I just do it.
That's right. And something that I always keep in my mind, my mom is very known about not procrastinating. She's very big about not procrastinating. She's an on-time person. She's not late. If she has an appointment at 4, she's ready at 2.
Yes.
And if you're not ready at 2, you're late. You see what I'm saying? So that is how my mom has always been. And I'm not quite like that. But I do remember those things in my head when I got my own household. Because I'm going to be clear, we had little chores we had to do. But until I left home, my mom still washed my clothes and did everything for me. She still was a homemaker. She made sure I knew how to do things, but she took care of me. So when I got my own household, and I always wanted to be a homemaker and a housewife, so I was prepared for it, but I would always remember, like, nobody else is going to pick up that sock if I don't come and pick up that sock. So quit walking over the sock, pick up the sock and get it done. And get it done. And I would also say that for me, being a young mom, starting out, I became a mom in the 2000s. I got married in 99, had my first baby in 2000. I got married at the end of 99, had my first baby in spring of 2000. And it was hard for me to stay on task, get routine, to get new to everything. But my mom would help me out a lot. She did give me a lot of help. And my mother-in-law, whether it be them coming to help do some loads of laundry or taking a baby or two out. I had my babies back to back, as you all know. Taking a baby off my hands for a couple hours so I can get some cleaning done. But they were very helpful, and they also gave me a lot of tips about preparing the night before, laying out clothes, go ahead and get all your laundry done and folded up, and making sure that the children are taken care of, priority number 1. So those were a lot of tips that they gave me. And so she kind of answered what my last question was the advice that she would give to this new generation. And to sum up what she was saying is to just do it.
Just do it.
Don't procrastinate. Don't think about. Just get busy doing it. Whether it's, if you are a person that has a hard time keeping your house clean, just start, right, Mommy?
Just start. You got to
Just start. Whether you work or if you're a stay-at-home mom full-time, if you're a full-time homemaker, you're a stay-at-home homemaker, just do it. Take some time out, whether it's when your children are napping or maybe it's during bath time where you can go around and pick up the living room before your husband gets home. Find some time to just get it done because your family is counting on you. Mommy, would you give any more advice to us when we're ending today to this new generation of homemakers?
Well, no more, like I said, Mr. Just Do It, but, and keeping the communication open, communicate with each other, never ever go to bed angry. Settle your problems before you lay down.
Yes, that's a very good tip for newly married couples, and even if you have your babies, it can be hard sometimes, especially the way my mom did it when she was a new mom, having really young babies, working, maintaining a relationship with your spouse. Sometimes they can come last on your list, but all that's also a part of homemaking, and also having time for yourself.
Yes.
Having some time for yourself, and often those routines will help you to have time for yourself. My mom talked about getting up earlier before her children, when my sisters were smaller. She got up earlier to prepare things. That was time for her to get herself prepared for the day and everything she needed to do. Before then, she got her children up and handled everything she needed to do with them. So it is important, moms, so don't be so hard on yourself.
Yes.
Take it one day at a time, one task at a time, and enjoy it. If you didn't get anything else from what Mom was saying, is that she really took pride in being a homemaker. She took pride in taking care of her husband and her children, and she enjoyed it. And so now we're all older, but she can still look to those moments with fond memories.
Yes, and now I'm truly enjoying my grands.
And now she enjoys her grands.
I'm just so grateful that God has allowed me to live to see my grandchildren.
Yes. And they're all grown at this point. So you got to see all your grandbabies be grown.
I'm so grateful.
And all the lessons that she taught us and the atmosphere that her and my dad set, she has been able to watch that go. My sister also she was a stay-at-home. She's a military wife, so she was a stay-at-home mom, but she often worked. She had 2 little ones. I would like to bring my sister on to talk because I think that's a whole nother world, being a military mom,
Yes.
having to set up routines and processes for your children in all these different states when you move and you're away from your family, so you don't really have a strong network of people helping you. That's a whole nother dynamic. But those tips and things that mommy, we call her mommy, set up for us, that mommy set up for us, we implement now with our children. And I'm hoping that, I have boys, but I'm hoping that the things that I do for them and the routine and even now the peaceful atmosphere for them will go on to them and to the next generation. Well, thank you, Mom, so much for coming.
It was a joy, Catrice.
To come. I love my mommy so much. We're probably going to have to pick her brain some more because we didn't even get into her routines. I think I mentioned in the last video that my mom would be in the kitchen earning clothes and cleaning morning, noon, and night. By the time the younger set came along, me and my twin brother, she was a full-time stay-at-home mom, and then we had a big, huge home, and we lived in West Virginia, and I don't know how she did it all, but they did it. So I'd like to have mommy back.
Like I said, I didn't think about it.
Yep, she don't think about it, just do it. That's the tip for today. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you again next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please leave us some comments and things you'd like to see. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.